Hi, this is Kandia from Kandia Haynesworth Designs, and we are in the official classroom for the Sew It and Show It workshops. Today we are turning this lightweight men's robe into a hospital gown, and this is a very easy project. This is one of the hospital gowns that my customer that donated a box of fabric and supplies plus a sewing machine to my studio had asked me to alter her husband's hospital gowns in exchange for the donation that she had made to my studio. Her husband is battling stage 4 cancer, and she is his caregiver. So she thought it would be easy to care for him, especially when bathing him, getting the gowns on and off, if the front was closed and the back was open. So if you want to look at the other two gowns that we altered, because all three of them are different. One has a full button front, one has a mid button front, and this, what we're looking at, is actually a robe. So I know it's a bit wrinkled and it's kind of hard to see, but I will get a better view of it. I just wanted to kind of lay it out so you can kind of get the whole gist of it and see what it looks like. I am going to take it to the sewing machine, but I just wanted you to take a look. Let's get started. Okay, so I've pressed the wrinkles out of the front part of this robe, and now it's time to bind it together. I'm not going to use pins. I'm not going to use clips to bind it together. At least I'm going to use one clip to hold it, but not bind it. Okay, and then I'm going to actually take it to the sewing machine. Today, what I'm going to use is this rescue tape. So what it is a double-sided clear adhesive tape, and it is perfect for hemlines and so forth. So what I'm going to do is just kind of lay it back like so, because I have it in the position that I want it to be in, and I'm going to just actually tear it off with my fingers, and I'm just going to lay it right where I want the fabric to land, like so, and I'm just going to press, and then I'm just going to unroll it. Now what I'm going to do is do this in small increments, because I just want to make sure that this is coming out the way I want it to come out. So, and this stuff is very strong. So what I'm going to do now is tear it again, like so, and then I'm going to peel off this paper here, which is the backing, right? And to do that, I'm just going to make sure that it's really on this fabric. Okay, so I'm just going to just roll my fingers over it to press it down, the adhesive really in the first part of this fabric, and then to peel it back. Let me see if you can see that. So I want you to pay attention to this area right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just literally peel the paper up some, and then you'll see the adhesive on the fabric, and I'm just going to roll it back like so, like so, and then I'm going to take the robe, I'm going to pair it up with this, so just right where I wanted, right here, just like so, and I'm just going to literally just pull it so, just so the white piping is showing some, and then I'm gonna nicely press it onto the adhesive. Then I'm gonna firmly press it onto the adhesive so it can get a nice stitch. I'm sorry, a nice bond. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to now move this up some, and I'm going to continue applying that adhesive all the way down in the front of this robe. Okay, so I have finished applying the adhesive in the front part of this robe, and the openings are temporarily sealed. Now, I just want to talk about this rescue tape for a minute. It looks like this. Can you see that? Let's see if I could get a It looks like this, and this is really used for temporary hems. So ideally, what I'm using it for to hold something in place temporarily is good, because we're not going to leave it like this. If I left it like this, as soon as a human got into this robe, it would open up because the force of the weight and so forth. And you can't launder this. As soon as you washed it, it would just all wash and dissolve away. So this is a true temporary fix, but you can always use these kind of things for other things. Even though this is specifically made for hemlines, as you can see, I'm using it in place of pins and clips. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this to the sewing machine. And if you remember, I had the tape just about maybe 1/8 of an inch away from where I actually want to stitch at. Okay, so I'm going to stitch right along here. Okay, because any more further I would be stitching over where the tape was placed, and I don't want to do that. The reason being is that it will gum up your needles, and it would probably be more frustrating than anything else. So I'm just going to take this to the sewing machine now and just stitch 1/8 of an inch hemline or seam all the way down, permanently binding the front part of this robe permanently. Okay, so I have permanently sewn the front of this robe together simply by using that rescue tape to hold the fronts together temporarily, and it allowed me just to stitch a seam up the front. So there are alternatives to pins and clips, and this rescue tape works just nicely. Okay, so the next part of this is that I'm going to turn this on the front side down, which means that the back of the robe is going to be exposed, and I'm going to use my yardstick and a pencil to draw a cutting line so we can open up the back. Okay, so I have my yardstick, and this yardstick measures 36 inches, and that's exactly how long the opening is going to be. And I have my dressmaker pencil, okay, and it's white, and so this should mark very nicely onto this burgundy or wine fabric. So I'm just going to just hold my ruler in place and just, you know, sketch this line. And typically, I like to use a lead pencil, an artistic lead pencil, pencils that art students use for sketching, not regular pencils like for school or anything like that. But the fabric is dark, and I really want you to see this mark, so I am using the dressmaker pencil. All right, so there it is. And then the line is here. I'm just going to literally cut a straight line following my dressmaker pencil mark. And so I've made the opening, and now I just need to make the hemline of the opening. And I'm going to use that rescue tape again. I'm just simply going to fold it back like so. So you see how I just folded it back, just like so. And I'm going to take my hands and just kind of temporarily crease it, just so it will stay. And then I'm going to take some tape, and I'm going to do this in increments again. And I know this tape is kind of wide, so I have to be careful to try not to run into it with my sewing machine, but we're going to double this hem. So I'm going to go onto this side, and I want to just make sure that I catch the rest of this going up. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera, but I just want to add some hemming tape right here, and then rip it. And then what I'm going to do is just press it down like I did before to make sure that the adhesive is really onto this fabric, okay, before I take the backing off. And then I'm going to take this backing off and fold it. So I just want to make sure that I got the whole thing. And I guess I need a little bit more down here. So let me just put a little bit more down here. Yeah. All right, so now what I'm going to do is just remove this, the backing of it. Remember, I had it in increments, so, and I'm just going to fold this first part over just like this. So it's about the width of it, and take my finger and just press it down, and then fold it again, and then press it down. And as you can see, gives it a nice clean finish, but we're not going to leave it like this. It's just a nice hold, a nice temporary hold. I really like to use this for projects like this, but as always, you know, good to know alternatives. So I'm just going to finish up removing the tape from the other parts of this seam where I want it to be, and just fold it down, press it like so. And I'm just going to take the rest of the tape off this and fold it down just like so. You see it gathering, so I have to make sure that that's fixed. Okay, so I'm gonna just get a little closer shot on that seam there. So looks really good so far. It will be very easy to stitch this in place. So now I'm just gonna do the other side, and then I'm going to just take it to the sewing machine and stitch a line up the back. Okay, so I got both temporary seams in place, and what I'm going to do now is just fold this over halfway, which is like 1/4 of an inch. So just want you to be able to see that. And then I'm going to clip it. Now we're going to use our clips. Okay, so I'm going to clip it in place just at this, all the way up the back on both sides. Okay, so I wanted you to see how I clipped it before I took it to the sewing machine. So I'm just going to show you. All right, so what I did was I just simply took the area where I applied the adhesive and just folded it over and then clipped it in place. Okay, so I'm going to now take it to the sewing machine and just stitch a hemline all the way up on one side and then all the way up on this side, and then we will be done. Alright, so the manufacturer does not recommend that you stitch through the sewing tape, which is the rescue tape. And I know that you really shouldn't, because once again it will gum up your needle. However, I wanted to test that theory. Alright, I don't usually I'm usually not a rebel, but I figured, you know what? Why not try it out? I do have my my needles ready just in case they get gummed up, and I was able to do one without it gumming up. So I just wanted to catch it on camera so you all can see. However, I'm not recommending that you turn into a rebel, but I am recommending that, you know, sometimes you might just want to try something with a little bit of risk on it with sewing, just so you know if it works or not. Okay, yeah, you can look at YouTube videos, and you know, your sewing instructor will tell you something may not work, but you need to probably see it firsthand sometimes so you can understand. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this to the sewing machine, the other side, okay, and this keeps falling. I'm going to lift my needle up. My presser foot is already up. I'm going to put my needle in place, take the first clip out. I'm going to start with the back stitch, okay, just so we got this. So back stitch, and then I'm just going to sew the rest of that hemline. And it's sewing, as you can see, it's fine. And I'm using the Brother JX2517, which is the official sewing machine for the Sew It and Show It workshops. Okay, but as you can see, it's not gumming up my needle. I'm able to achieve that hemline that I want. It's not slowing me down at all. So I guess maybe then for some fabrics it will work.